Welcome to day 1700 of What's She Up To Now. Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here, 1700 days in a row, with the exception, I believe, of Christmas 2019. Christmas Day, actually, I wasn't able to talk. I had COVID-19, believe it or not, before COVID-19 was even announced as a thing here in the United States. I was not tested for it, but I guarantee I had it. Was sick as a dog, never been that sick for about 3 weeks, and coughed, thought I was going to cough a lot. Thought I was going to break a rib coughing. I coughed so hard. But otherwise, 1700 days in a row. For the most part, I have hopped on and shared and documented my business journey, what I'm doing online. And primarily as I've gone online, when I was in the offline world, I was not really online at all. I didn't have an online presence. And so for 40 some years, because the internet didn't exist, we didn't have an online presence, the vast majority of that. But when it did, I was busy working in corporate America and running different businesses and raising my family, and it just wasn't something that I had the priority to explore and look into. And then following my divorce, I decided, okay, I'm gonna do something totally different. What's totally different, but something I've been curious about for a long time. So I hopped into the online world. And ever since then, I probably went about a year before I ever made a video. Why? Because like everybody else, I was scared to make videos. I thought I would die if I made a video, or if somebody heard my scratchy, raspy voice or whatever. So I never made videos for that first year. And then following Funnel Hacking Live 2018, actually before Funnel Hacking Live, I started doing daily videos. I started doing one of my first personal annual challenges where I shared that challenge with other people. Prior to that, I'd done literally thousands and thousands of challenges, but all on my own, and for my own benefit, to make and try to improve my life. And so from that point on, I've done an annual challenge every year, and this year's is the BU 365-day challenge, where we're doing one thing every day that improves us. And this month's focus, I set it up the first 9 months of this year to coincide with a life framework that I use to try to take some of the chaos out of my life and create some structure. I set my goals around the life framework. I track my results along the life framework because it keeps it simple and it makes it easy for me. So that life framework, we're on the 9th area this month, and that is communication. I added confidence and communication last year to my 7-part life framework that I learned from Tony Robbins, back in the 1980s, the late 80s, I think is when I think it came from Jim Rohn and other leadership and management and mindset gurus and business gurus and success professionals. But bottom line is, I remember it most from Tony Robbins, so that's why I give credit to it for. So physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, financial, relationships, and contribution were the 7 areas that he used, and I adopted those because I like to model, like he teaches us, model other people's success. Success leaves clues. I think that one's Armin Morin, but whoever said it first, it doesn't matter. It's true. If we want to be successful in anything, we need to find people, and we don't model everything about them, but the areas that that we want to model them in, right? No human being I've yet to meet or experience or learn about so far is actually perfect in terms of how they implement and do everything. Sometimes super successful people have areas of their life that they totally, absolutely ignore. And we can think of a lot of examples of that. Think Steve Jobs and his health, right? Steve Jobs was a great example of creativity and imagination and business acumen and creating great things in the world, but he also died pretty young of cancer. So obviously his health was not the way it should have been in order for him to still be here with us today. Topic for another day. So today, our idiom for Supersize Your Business, what I'm doing to coincide with the annual challenge, is sharing an idiom that has something to do with the topic we're on. So this month we're focusing on communication idioms, and today's was Chinese whispers, and I have never heard this idiom, and I'm pretty confident that I will never use this idiom beyond sharing it with today's content. It's considered a racist idiom from the 1800s, and there was a belief that people spoke deliberately in a way to confuse, deliberately unintelligible, so that other people around them couldn't understand what they were saying. I think that's poppycock and nonsense, but that's just my opinion and my take on this particular idiom or expression. But we talked about how can we use this and not use it in our businesses to help us to disseminate information that is not misinformation, to not have a racist or a prejudiced culture, to accept people for all of their differences, etc., and how we can impact formal information transmission in our organization. But things like the grapevine, we've talked about that. We really don't have the ability to, as the leader of the organization, with the exception of how we monitor and build the culture in our organization, what we reward people for, what we punish them for. I mean, if people behave in ways that are inappropriate to the culture, chances are they're not going to stay in our organization very long. So we talked about that. And our topics for communication related with respect to the annual challenge today were adventure and creativity. I'm not particularly adventurous. If you ask people, I don't think anyone would describe me as adventurous, but I find adventure in my own little ways, right? And I'm mostly living vicariously through my kids because they are much more adventurous than I am. And then creativity. I do think creativity is high on my list of core values and things that are important to me, meaning finding different, fun ways to do different things. To me, creativity is allowing your imagination to bring something into existence that didn't exist before. So lots of people cover idioms, but I don't know that very many people talk about idioms every day and how we can use them to build and grow and supersize our business. So that's my little creative way of taking something that already exists and adding my spin to it, and then saying, well, what could this mean for me as I grow and build my business? What could this mean for you as you grow and build your business? So that was our topic for today for our Supersize Your Business for Female Entrepreneurs group. It's Monday in my neck of the woods. May or may not be Monday where you're listening from, but to me, Monday always symbolizes opportunity and a new week. And I love Mondays. Lots of people hate Mondays. And I would say maybe back in my corporate days or running some of my businesses, Monday wasn't always my favorite day. Actually, Thursday was my least favorite day when I was a child due to piano lessons, which is another long story. But Mondays, sometimes I was really excited about them, sometimes I wasn't, depending on what else was going on in my life usually, whether I was excited to go show up at work every Monday or not. Sometimes whether I was excited to show up at one of my businesses or not on Mondays. But for the most part now, I totally am grateful for and appreciate every single day that I get to experience. And that's because of my own personal experiences, something that happened to me that made me a lot more grateful and a lot more appreciative of every opportunity to show up in the world. So I'm going to go show up in my world and in my week, and I invite you to do the same. If I can help you in any way, please ask. Otherwise, I'll be with you tomorrow.